Here's something I learned when I was a financial advisor that helped me make sense of markets and helped actually calm me down now and then. My question to myself was, is the market broken or breathing? Let's talk about that. This hit me about halfway through my career. There are, to me, and this is just my way of looking at this, there are two ways to look at markets. Sometimes the market is broken, or what drives the market is broken. And other times, all we're seeing is the natural breathing of markets. So, definitions first. Broken means something tangible and obvious is driving the market down, such as the meltdown of 2008 or the COVID crisis. To me, we can look at that and say, yeah, that's why the market is going down. It generally results in a bear market, and a drawdown of at least 20% will usually happen. And typically 20% is what is commonly known as a bear market. Now, breathing is just the regular breathings of markets. That means the market might be going down a bit, but there's no clear catalyst. There's no obvious economic news, economic reports, some kind of socio-political issue that's driving down markets. And so those generally tend to be a series of retests within a positively growing trend. And a trend is when you see the market going up over time with higher highs and higher lows. Generally speaking, they're healthy. They're smaller, and we usually look at them as corrections. I think people oftentimes get that mixed up. They hear about a correction and they think it's a crash. Two different things. A correction is just something that's going to happen naturally several times over the course of a year, and we're going to show you what that looks like. So what is this? We have a monthly chart of the S&P 500 between 2000 and 2025. And you would think there would be more than just 5 notable drawdowns, but that's it. In 25 years, 5 big drawdowns. First one was the dot-com crash in the early 2000s. Then we had the 2008 meltdown. Then COVID hit, and in fact, that was the fastest bear market in the history of the stock market. That was down 34% in 30 days. Okay, so that's drawdown number 3 over this 25-year period. Then we had the inflation spike. And that's when, that's one of those situations, just like COVID, you don't know how far this is going to go. You don't know how bad it's going to get, but it does become a bear market, and that's a bad year or more. And then finally, 5, when President Trump came out with his tariff plan, the market dropped hard again, but it then recovered afterwards, of course. But those are the 5 notable drawdowns between 2000 and 2025, and that's what I call a broken market. And maybe you don't want to be fooling around with a broken market unless you're betting against it. All right. Next, we have a daily chart of just the last 9 months of 2025. Let's take a look. Now, remember I said that the breathing of markets is the successful retest of a trend. So we test the trend by going down a bit, but then we end up going right back up. Now, what will these usually be? Anywhere from maybe 2 to 5%, maybe a bit more than that, but it happens quite often. Let's take a look. Okay, now up here is where you see the tariffs. Okay, so that's what's happening in 2025. But here comes the successful retest of a trend, and this is what I talk about when I say the market is just breathing. One here, 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 here. Look how many there are. There's another one, and finally the last one. So what we have there is 10 small drawdowns in just 9 months. And if someone is not ready for something like that, they're going to dump out and they're going to pay the price because the market is going to jump right back in and they will have missed out on that gain. So when I realized that kind of began to draw things together for me. It made more sense. So as you're planning it might be a good idea just to ask yourself what is happening in the financial or domestic news. And sometimes, for example, there might be a big oil shock. There might be a war, we don't know. But generally speaking, when the market is broken, it is for a very clear reason. Is the market broken or is it breathing? That's it. Thanks. See you next time.